Hello and welcome to this interview series ahead of Data Center World on the 22nd and 23rd of May at Messe Frankfurt. I'm Rebecca Uppendell, tech reporter at Techerati, and today my guest is Susanna Kass, Energy Fellow at Stanford University, Data Center Advisor for the United Nations Sustainability Development Goal Programme, operating partner at Digital Gravity Infrastructures and co-founder of Infraprime. Susanna will appear at Data Center World later this month, but today we'll be talking about an invention or innovation that has had an effect on her life.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be present at Data Center World in Frankfurt and meet everyone in the audience to learn more about your ideas, how we can move the journey forward for all of us.
And so can you tell us briefly about your journey as an entrepreneur and AI scientist and how it led you to your current roles focusing on data centers and sustainability?
Indeed. I have been in the data center business for over 33 years. And incidentally, when I graduated in a computer science degree, my major was actually in artificial intelligence, specifically natural language processing. I found it extremely fascinating as an Asian woman that English is not my first language. It would be fantastic that we actually have the computer be able to simultaneously translate anything that we talked about, texting or speech, be able to translate in the local language. So everyone actually have a way that they can actually connect because oftentimes, if we all know, languages have its own nuances in terms of what it really means. So personally, I was very fascinated by that the computer be able to do that. Of course, that was so long ago that now everybody will be able to actually do it with generative AI. So it's kind of like a full circle for me. It's very rewarding, Rebecca. Specifically, I have been in the data center industry. And what does that mean is I have worked in an operational role as a COO for eBay International, as a general manager for Hewlett-Packard, the Asia Pacific data center operation, as an executive vice president for base layer, and also head of innovation for Nestera Energy, and also as an executive for Sun Microsystem for the global data center operation, which is actually part of the Oracle Cloud and AI operational now. Across 17 countries as a COO for eBay International, what I've also done is have the ability to also support client in the cloud space. So I have led over 3.8 gigawatt of clean energy projects and operated the data center from the site selection to making it live and the operation. And since I've been around for a while, I've actually gone through a couple of times to take down some old data center we call decommissioning. So what it basically meant is go through the entire life cycle, and my specialty is actually focused on hyperscale. So specifically, my client include Google, Microsoft, Apple, AWS, and actually enterprise clients such as Goldman Sachs and media companies such as Akamai, who does a lot of streaming for real-time events that you probably have watched it because of soccer and other sports that we're all enthused about. And of course, including eBay and actually Walmart, to name a few of my clients. And as an energy fellow for Stanford University, I am very, very passionate to work with researchers such as the IPCC scientists that support the UN SDG goal, come up with a lot of climate report. And many of the work, what I fundamentally believe is not based on opinion, but genuinely based on science, good science, and facts. So utilizing and exploring artificial intelligence is extremely important because it can actually help us to accelerate with all the facts that we basically have, all the data points we have. What can we all do to make some evidence-based decision in our decision making that is not based on emotions, but genuinely based on facts, so we can actually pave the way forward. So if we know that we did not do it correctly, we can pivot and make improvement. And if we know we actually do it accurately, we can scale very quickly. Rebecca.
Can you perhaps share an innovation or invention that has had an effect on your life in particular?
Yes, so I have a few inventions, but the one that I want to mention to you is the following. Time to speed and bring your own power is the current issue right now that we're all facing with all the growth generated by generative AI or escalated by AI. So one of my clear invention that I work with a couple of partners is basically make the data center in a modular concept. So instead of waiting a long time for the permitting and the building and whatnot, we actually invented the data center already as a prefabricated through a container, an ISO container, which is standard, and they're in a pre-modular form. So it is all basically pre-built in a factory, all tested, ready to go. And then we got decomposed into different parts through the shipping, which we use as a sustainability method. And then when it arrived on the site, from the pad, basically the cement that you need to build to put the module there, to live production, we can actually turn it on as little as 45 days, but we started with 90 days. So time to market is extremely important, because what you want to do is actually turn on live the data center rather than waiting a long time. And then you want to use every hour, every minute, every second counts 24/7 at the site to make it live. So that was one of the invention I thought would be very helpful. And specifically since then, we always continue to optimize and improve, Rebecca. So the modular data center, we come up with net zero design. What does that mean? That means on the site that we actually going to show up, that we want a data center to be there, also include on-premise power generation. So in the event when we actually like to have a data center on a site, but the utility cannot give us the power, we basically do bring your own power. And they're all clean energy because of a very Susanna brand that we also use energy storage and whatnot. So the module itself actually have a duality in terms of the power source. So we can actually take it from the grid, or we can actually take it from the on-premise power generation that is clean energy. And if we generate too much that we don't need, the beauty of it all, Rebecca, is we give it back to the grid in terms of the green electrons, because the grid is not oftentimes green. So I fundamentally believe the journey need to be circular, that we need to synchronize with the grid rather than we show up and we just basically demand for energy. And then by working with the grid, working with the provider, working with technology, we all can actually contribute to basically make it to be a 24/7 clean energy journey throughout the entire life cycle.
What are you excited for our attendees to learn at Data Center World next week at Techerati Frankfurt?
Yes, so I hope you're all going to join me. I'm actually going to talk about one of my newest design called Absolute Zero Design for the Future of Data Center. So Absolute Zero is clearly the most ambitious goal that a data center can meet. What does that mean? So instead of actually account for the offset at the end of the year for using the dirty energy, the Absolute Zero Design addresses every kilowatt hour that we actually use on energy is zero of emission. So for some of you who actually like to learn more about how you can also contribute, in that regard, please join me at Data Center World on May 22nd at 1:40 p.m. I will be there, and I look forward to meeting you all and hopefully have a chance in about half an hour time to share with you one of my latest designs.